Hello, viewer listener. Cover your disgusting body with our t-shirts because now we sell t-shirts. We have 3 brand new first-time t-shirts for Funbearable. If you are a fan of the podcast, I highly recommend getting any one of the 3, but I think you should start with the best. It's clearly the one that works the most, which is a wonderful design by Kenny Rubanis. It is the 3 of us in 2 mopeds and a sidecar. Yep. And I'll let you figure out which one of us is the sidecar.
And I think you actually might think the best one is our, let's just call this one the Funbearable skull shirt that's up right now. I think that one's going to be the most popular.
I think the most popular is going to be the classic, just Funbearable basic artwork.
Well, cast your vote with your dollar at funbearablepod.com. Grab those shirts, baby.
Elections are broken. This time, it can serve you. Get a shirt and cover, again, that disgusting body at funbearablepod.com.
You guys know I used to sponsor a Brazilian child through the Christian Children's Fund.
I do.
Christian Children's
Well,
Fund.
What was his
Don't
name
like
again?
that.
Well, I don't want to go into his name, but here.
You don't want to go into his name?
Here's
Is it Brazilian?
I'll explain why.
It was Brazilian Joe.
So at some point,
Hold on. I'm still processing.
Yep.
Christian Children's
Yeah, it
Fund.
was this-
It sounds like the church going, we want to buy more kids.
Yeah, they did.
Donate to the fund.
Brad
was-
told
But
me-
they kind of do, though.
Brad
There is a
told me-
bit of human trafficking.
Brad told me that he sponsored this kid because he looks just like me, is what he kept saying.
Brazilian Chuck.
Yeah.
No, I meant him.
Oh, sorry. Brazilian Brad.
I love the idea that
He's
Bradzillian.
Brazilian.
He looks like me.
That is funny.
this
and
probably-
then he just writes letters to him like, you're a piece of shit. You'll never amount to anything. Yeah.
Takes all his frustration out on this Brazilian child.
It was probably 2007, 2008. I probably
Okay.
Por qué?
sponsored him for a year or 2, and then they wrote to me and they said he's, they
He
don't,
died.
he doesn't need your sponsorship because he's been taken in by another family member.
Oh, okay.
And also, like at the time, they were changing their name and changing their goals, and I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'll keep my $31
Soccer
a
goals?
month or whatever. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
It's Brazil.
Right. And, at some point, I probably looked him up on Facebook. I'm like, that's a kid. Feels weird, 2015, 2016, to friend him.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't.
Yeah.
Then my church was talking about sponsoring kids and helping blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, let me look this guy up. And I don't see him on Facebook. I'm like, let me Google him. And there's a page with his full name, but it's all in Brazilian Portuguese. And I'm like, well, clearly this isn't going to be anything sinister. Let me just...
Brad funded his life of crime.
Let me just click Google Translate. He is facing charges for drug trafficking. I think it's the same guy. It's
Can't give us his first name?
No, it's a pretty.
But in Brazilian,
unique
it's probably
first-
very common. Like Mohammed, that's a common name in some
Not in
places.
Brazil.
I'm saying it's the Brazilian
¿Cómo
version.
estás, Mohammed?
I think it's the Brazilian version of Mohammed. Like to us, we don't know any Mohammeds, but in some places, it's very common.
His first name was Wellburt.
All right. You've said enough. That's not Brazilian.
First of all, Wellburt is the name of whatever your child is. So, I get that just that name
God
would make
damn.
you want to.
You know what? Wellburt sounds more like somebody who's a drug trafficker talking to customs, like the border patrol, and they're like, and they're like, what is your name, sir? And visibly pouring sweat, and he's like, Wellburt, Tangerine. My name is Wellburt Tangerine.
His name is Wellburt Roar.
All right. Wellburt Roar Tangerine. Sorry.
That would be hilarious.
I'm hypinating my last name.
Oh, Wellburt.
What's
What
your middle
happened?
name? My middle name is No Drugs Up My Ass.
So Wellburt took your funds and he funded a bad thing?
It seems unlikely
No, I
that
don't
my
think so.
funds that were given to an organization
Yeah.
that he was like paying for his schooling and lunches
Yeah.
when he
way.
was a child, that 14 years later that somehow led.
So have you reached out to the organization for a refund?
I have not.
Because
yet.
he didn't better his life.
I'm not sure that it's the same one. I mean, how many Wellburts are running around Brazil?
That is true.
But
That is true.
Man,
It's so common. It's like John Smith.
yeah.
Wellburt Tangerine.
Wellburt Roar Tangerine.
Wellburt Tangerine.
And I'm like, I want to know more about the situation. So if you are a fun bear who speaks Brazilian Portuguese and wants to translate what I assume is a lengthy legal document.
If you are a Brazilian drug lord, please reach. Oh, wait, no. I don't think we want drug lords reaching out.
Wellburt, if you have become a Brazilian drug lord, your papa.
It sucks. I don't want him to be a criminal.
Let's see. What should our child's name be?
I've taken enough grief about the old Boston bombing ring.
Well, I'm just thinking.
You never should have become
I'm thinking
part of
about
that.
Mr. and Mrs. Tangerine.
Yeah.
When they look at this baby, and they're just like, what are we going to name this baby? And the father, in Brazilian Portuguese, says, I wish there was a name that was like what it would sound like if Ernie was breaking bad news.
Yes.
Wellburt.
Maybe it was a Sesame Street episode that led to this name. I don't know.
Yeah.
But man, it's
Damn.
You definitely shouldn't have introduced the Boston Bombers to each other. That was a bad move.
Hold on.
I think,
It does sound familiar. Were you involved in them meeting in college because you put them in the same room?
all right. So
All right, so Wellburt. That's what it is. Wellburt is the Brazilian Your Honor. Wellburt.
I was
refresh my memory here.
instructed by one of our
You
international
were just
admissions
following orders?
counselors, yes,
Yeah.
to put one student from Kazakhstan with some other Kazakh students. So
Okay.
after the bombing, somebody, some students who lived off campus at that time, took the laptop and threw it in a dumpster or whatever. And so I had assigned those people together a year and a half before, but I didn't introduce the bombers to each other because they were brothers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
See,
So
it's funny.
Chuck is like, "Hey, Brad's friends with the bomb." I'm like, "No,
Didn't you go to flight school with some strange folks?
I did, but that was in like 2000."
He's the
or-
Nick Fury of the Boston bombing.
Yeah,
He put
that's
them
what he says.
Yeah.
But it's funny because he's involved in the Boston bombing. Now you're involved with this Brazilian drug lord, and you know so many convicted pedophiles.
I know.
You did just have, there's a bright side to this.
And one unconvicted.
Yeah. For the listener only, he definitely gestured at Chuck.
No, for the listeners, he definitely said it's Ray, and he put him in a headlock to be subdued.
I like how we're making jokes about we're not the pedophile. There's only one of us that has sent money to a child.
I sent money to an organization to pay for a child.
Pay for a
I
child.
remember because you guys became pen pals for a little
We
bit.
did, yeah. I have some letters from him.
Oh,
From
that's nice.
2007, 2008, and they're very sweet because it's
Hey, look, it's tough out there.
It's almost
generational poverty.
Yeah,
Don't you
right.
feel like maybe Brad shouldn't be in the world?
No.
First of all,
That's awful.
Brad feels that all the time.
Yeah.
There was a cry for help in the episodes we recorded
Well,
yesterday.
I don't want him to deal with these people doing bad things. I want
But
him
the
to live
answer
in...
is not for him to simply not exist, my
But
boy.
what if we put him in like a Truman Show situation?
So we kind of keep him safe that way. So we sort of create a global level
Yes.
of when someone is in solitary confinement.
Yes,
So it's like
but
solitary
so big that he
confinement
doesn't
for
know.
a world. Right.
It's so big he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And, just like Truman Show, you know how they give Jim Carrey these really, really extreme fears of water
Yeah.
so that he doesn't leave?
They don't have to do any of that.
Well, we can
He'll
do
already
something.
have it.
How about this? To make it feel more organic, because he wants to swim. We don't want him to be scared of water.
Yeah.
We'll put zoos all around it, and he's scared of lions.
But they're all locked up.
They're bad zoos.
Well, why don't
Well,
we
here's
just
the
make
thing. There's a zombie virus loose in the zoos.
why don't we make the edges of this community?
Yeah.
In order for him to not go
the
that
Bradley
way.
Show?
Yeah.
call
Yeah,
it.
the Bradley Show.
Lowest
In the
rated.
edges of the community, we make that the demographics that he is labeled as stinkers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought
So
you were
like
just gonna-
We'll
he's
have our own
not
Chinatown.
Yeah, right. So if he wants to go to the docks to take a boat
Little
to
Italy.
leave,
Little Italy.
he has to go through Little Ethiopia, and
Little-
he's not going to be happy with
That's not
that.
who I said were stinkers.
Little tax avoiders or something. Wait, what did you say? Who were you talking about?
I don't remember. Political
and then
prisoners.
just-
Little political prisoner land.
We'll just have a ring of strong-willed women, and he'll back off immediately.
No way.
the stinkiest of all stinkers.
Strong with
women
women.
who can vote.
Yes, It's just confusing feelings where I'm like, I'm attracted to you, but frightened of you.
yeah.
I really do sometimes, like, I'll find out from Brad that he, another person that he was close to has been convicted of a terrible crime or
Yep,
something.
yep.
It's like, and
I'm
like,
thinking about this, and at least 2 of the convicted pedophiles came because, like, they were friends with Chuck first.
no, they weren't.
Well, where do you think they met?
No, two of your
in their little forums.
2 of your pedophile friends were through you. Maybe there's 2 through me too.
Hey, you know what I don't want to do?
Count-
Have this conversation
pedophiles.
But
on
anyway,
mic or off.
I feel bad for him because he deals with all these people that he finds out are then bad characters.
Yeah.
Bad characters.
Well, I think
bad actors.
I already knew
Yeah.
that he had poor, poor skills in like friendship. You know what I mean? Like he picks the bad people to be friends with. I already knew that coming into.
I
this.
think he picks like the people he needs to be a little bit more influenced by, and sometimes it's like a cool bad guy, like James Dean type, or like Alvin,
was a bad guy
or an
guy?
Alvin the Chipmunk type.
Identical. Identical. What are you rebelling against?
What do you got?
You know, it's insane. I want
He
to get
wants
to
a hula hoop.
I want to get to the bottom. I want a hula hoop. Right? That's when he was like, "You guys, what?" He's like, "I feel like I'm going crazy," or whatever he said. I don't know. He's dead. I do want to get to the bottom of this idea of. Yeah, the organization, because that I'm still stuck on that because that's child trafficking for sure, right?
Well, you're sponsoring a child in
Yeah.
in another area. So it's an organization that provides healthcare and meals and education, and that organization needs funding. And so I provide a very small amount of that funding.
So they don't do the. Is this an organization that ultimately leads to adoption in the States? No.
No.
Okay, good.
Did they send you a
that's
catalog
bad.
and you picked Wellburt?
I don't remember. I honestly, it may have been a website of like you're going through.
Oh, look at this! It's like a little like trading card, and
Yes.
it's got like fun facts on it.
He's got
and it's like,
glasses. He's got spiky
he
hair.
hates spicy food.
He's got a long red shirt with a big gold A on it.
And
W.
it says here for a fun fact, he also has, that's weird, a cavernous colon?
Oh my god!
Wow.
That makes 2 of us.
Well, don't mind if I do.
And then it just has something here, 17L. I wonder what that means. Let me flip it. 17 liters. Wow.
Yep.
That's a big cavernous colon.
Yes,
They-
that's too big.
They
It is-
actually
it's
sent
too
him
big.
that old like the dating game where you flip down the people and you got to just
Guess
like,
who?
Yeah, guess who?
Yeah.
That's what it was, and he picked
Yeah.
Wellburt out of that.
Wellburt. Wellburt.
I didn't. I
Wellburt.
didn't name him.
Everything in Brad's. This is what's weird about Brad. I'm just gonna come
There's
out and say
quite a bit.
everything in his life seems like someone wrote it to be funny, and I've always thought about this. Grandma Bean Blossom. He grew up on Tulip Tree Lane.
Yep.
Boz's Hot Dogs. We're
This is
talking
a-
about Wellburt, his adopted child from Brazil.
Not adopted.
This is like some of these stories do feel like you are stealing them from a picture book.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe I am.
He's like,
Yeah.
there's this pedophile I got to spend time with in my life once in a while.
dang.
We keep him out of the kids'
Well, we know he
department.
goes to the
It's
church.
crazy. That's actually where this person is.
That's where one of them
That's
was.
that's where it was.
Okay, all right, that's
Yeah.
fair.
But it's
Well,
like,
and
and there's a lot of funny things. Like, he's always.
he had been abused as a youth. Hurt people.
that is true. Yeah.
There's all these funny things. Like Brad will tell us a story about, the department store stand-up where he said the thing about going shit in his bucket.
Yeah.
Where the guy, Brad didn't tell him to shit in his bucket, but that's how the guy stretched the story.
Yeah.
All these things are so funny, and it's so weird that Brad is involved in these things. He gets in trouble for roasting. It's all so funny, and it seems, so I'm sorry to say it, somewhat scripted.
Okay.
I don't believe you're a real person.
Well, maybe we're in the Bradley show.
Wouldn't you?
Oh my
Wouldn't
God.
you know it?
Wait, if you wake up, do we cease to exist?
Yeah, that's my question.
Oh no. And also, to be fair, we've made a lot of fun of Wellburt, and I don't want to come across imperialist. I don't want to come across being a sheltered white boy. We don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a very common name in Brazil.
That's what I was
Wellburt.
saying. I don't know.
In fact, I do know this. You know how in the United States.
Yep.
I remember as a child reading Highlights magazine, and there was a little informational comic strip in there. You would love this. Goofus and Gallant. Goofus does this. Gallant does that. Right? Yeah. In Brazil, it's Wellburt and Hellburt, and that's the two.
That's
That was
funny.
a long way to go for a joke.
I like Wellburt
Remember
and Hellburt.
Highlights?
I do.
I
They
do.
still make it, and that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like Goofus and Gallant.
Yeah.
I mean, I referenced myself and Brad as Goofus and Gallant
Yes.
yesterday at a podcast, and the guy we were driving, and the guy pulled out a
Gun?
magazine of highlights for children from his back seat. He had one
As bait.
as bait.
Yes.
Yeah.
For
and
Wellburt.
So you met another one.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
weird. So Wellburt is in his mid-20s now.
Yeah.
And has made some not great decisions. It seems, maybe he's the star witness.
Maybe
and
it's a
he's
setup.
and he's taken down the whole ring.
Yes.
By the way, in terms of like Brad having a child, him naming someone Wellburt is fucking hilarious. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
It's still on the list.
Yeah.
And to be fair, there is a federal organization that's involved with this, where if you do have a child, they have a whole system in place. They have to make sure that the woman that you have that child with is 3 to 4 shades darker than you are.
Yeah.
Because if it matches, that child could blind people.
Yeah.
The whitest child in the
see
world.
His organs through his
Yeah,
skin.
it's translucent. It looks like a tadpole.
It's a glowing one from the world of Fallout.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about all these dumb
It's
jokes.
okay.
I'm so sorry. But I will say Wellburt does sound like a child. Like if there was an announcement tomorrow
Yep.
that you're a papa now.
Yep.
You're holding that translucent baby. And it's like, meet Wellburt.
Think of how important this baby is going to be
Think
for
of
science.
how much money we're going to save on X-rays.
Yeah, that's broken.
That's so fun. Wellburt, and then his little sister.
Nope.
You got nothing?
Nope.
What?
I said Trulia.
Trulia. That's what is Trulia? That sounds like
I think that's a
sweetener.
I
sweetener.
think it's a fake sweetener.
Yeah.
Like stevia.
Yeah.
I love
Ooh,
Wellburt.
stevia.
That's not bad.
And my daughter, Bible.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Wellburt is
Ooh,
just
big
great.
tits on the baby.
Oh, I'm juggling the babies. I'm juggling the babies. Welcome to another episode of Funbearable.
So sorry.
I am Brad Rohr.
I am Ray. I never met the man Harrington.
I am Chuck Wellburt State.
Yeah, of course.
I
There you
love
go.
Wellburt. I love
Wellburt's
Wellburt.
fantastic.
I know you do.
Yeah, it's
It really
funny.
is great.
I just do
Yeah.
think about your life sometimes, and it sucks because, like, I thought about this story the other day
Uh-oh.
that I really like, and I told, I told my girlfriend about it, and a long time ago when Brad and I first met, I love this story. It's the story that makes me smile the most.
You're hesitating like you're making it up and trying to think
No,
of an ending.
I just don't want to make it seem like I'm making fun of Brad. It's just so funny.
I mean,
This is when we were first.
it's
being
not like
friends.
it's my birthday or anything. Just go ahead and take shots at me.
And we went out to Johnny Rockets together.
Ugh.
And I love this guy. I wanted to show him my favorite things. And we ordered some chili cheese fries. And I was joking around with the waitress, a little flirting. She's very sweet. And when we got the bill, there was no chili cheese fries in the bill. And Brad was like, "What the?" And he's looking at the back and everything. He's like,
I'm like trying to raise my hand, like,
Yeah.
teacher, you forgot to assign us homework.
he said, "Why didn't you charge us for this?" And I said, "Well, I'm kind of a regular here, so they didn't charge me for it because I'm friends with them." And Brad's like, and he went, "Where am I a regular?"
Oh, I remember this story now. Yeah.
And then the next day, he went to this pizza place in the mall that he used to go to every Saturday. She's like, "I'm a regular here." And he ordered his pizza, which was probably, I'm guessing, 2 slices of cheese pizza.
One slice of cheese.
I was on my big dumb diet.
And probably a diet soda.
I got a regular small soda because it was the freaking weekend.
Freaking weekend, he would get regular soda. Yeah. And he ordered a small soda, and he looked at his bill to see if they gave him anything for free, and they double charged him for the soda. Now, in real life, to a regular person, they wouldn't get anything for free.
Yep.
But if people were writing this as a sitcom,
Yeah.
he would get double charged.
And
Yeah,
it's 15 hours after Chuck, and I quote, "That's what happens when you roll with Chuck Staten." This is 2008. It was a different
So
time.
you were George Costanza in this
Oh,
written scenario
absolutely.
where you're like, oh, what do I get for free? They double charged me, Jerry.
That's
you
the
know?
thing. It's all of this, it just seems too perfect sometimes. Tulip Tree Lane, Grandma Bean Blossom, Wellburt. It grows up to be a drug dealer.
Are you a
we don't know. We don't know what he did. We don't know exactly how he trafficked drugs or if he's guilty.
Right. So he's allegedly a
Yeah.
drug trafficker.
How about this, Chuck? If they say, "Hey, we're keeping him in like a big vault, and he's surrounded by corrupt cops,"
Oh, yeah. Fast and Furious
We're
5.
gonna get 2 reinforced.
I'll give you another one. Brad was friends with this guy in high school or college, and the guy got arrested for domestic violence, and in his mugshot it says, "I love my wife." And that's Brad's friend.
Hold on. In the mugshot, it says that. What do you mean? Like
In
his
his
shirt?
t-shirt, yeah.
His
He's
shirt said, "I love
wearing-
my wife."
He's we grew up in the same town.
Okay.
He is my brother's age, played baseball, all
He
that.
grew
with-
up
with
on
my
Wife
brother.
Beater Lane.
That's where he moved as an adult.
Oh, no.
He was arrested
It was a
for
cul-de-sac.
domestic assault, and it was an I Heart My Marriage shirt, and it it made Perez Hilton and all these things
Yeah,
in
yeah.
2008 2009. But this gets actually sad because he was arrested again in 2024.
the same?
Not wearing a comical shirt this time.
Oh, man.
And I don't know what the court outcomes were
Yeah,
for either
yeah,
situation.
This is sad now.
But
Yeah,
it's just-
it sure
it's just-
is.
it's
Chuck thinks it's hilarious.
Don't you find it a little
Chuck's
suspicious?
pointing at a woman with 2 black eyes going, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
Don't you find it a little suspicious, though, all these things with Brad?
Is this your conspiracy theory?
I don't know.
Are you like a Brad truther?
It just seems like, what is he doing? Is he angling for his own show?
My
Like his
fuel
reality show?
doesn't melt steel beams.
You know what I mean? It's so funny. All these things are
Yeah.
funny.
No,
I think it's fun, and I think it's good that these things happen to at least one of us on this podcast, so we can create stories and content. Don't think of it as a man beat his wife twice so much that he had to be arrested for it.
Different wives.
Because that's a different wife.
Different wife.
Oh, fool me once.
Yep.
So don't think of it as domestic violence.
Yeah.
And that's sad. Please, listener, viewer, don't think of it that way. Think of it as what a fun bit of content for a podcast. You know what I mean?
It's weird because when we're going through things that aren't great, we're
Yeah.
like, well, at least this will be a good story. So Ray's advice to anyone suffering right now,
Yeah.
is
Make
that
a podcast.
yep.
I'll be honest with you. There is part of like it, because we live in the times that we live in, and it's 2024. As a comic, I think this happens a lot. But like, I'll do a show, and every once in a while, you have a show that's just like, this is a bad show.
Yeah.
It's like run poorly, or the production is wrong,
Yeah.
or whatever. We've talked about this before. That idea of like, you wish you could say to the crowd, like, "Hey, I'm gonna do what I can.
The context
This
is
whole
wrong.
thing sucks.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So just so you know.
Yeah.
But sometimes the thing that bums me out the most, when it's just bad enough and hard enough where I can say personally that really sucked, but nothing good enough happened, or when I say good, nothing bad enough
Right.
happened for it to be an entertaining story.
Yeah, nothing remarkable happened.
Right?
I know.
That's what bums me out, when it's a boring bad.
Yeah.
When it's like some kind of thing that you can, get your hooks into. That's when it's really, am I about to tell the threatened
Oh, you could.
worst story, worst show?
We're
You could.
loosey-goosey this episode.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, we're at the 100th, or should I save it for the 100th live show?
Is it good enough to tell on stage?
I think people would understand the level of bad. Yeah.
All right.
All right, save it.
Actually, that's kind of a perfect thing to do for the live show because it's been threatened for so long.
Yeah.
sure, do it.
We got to cut all of this then.
No, it's all right.
It's,
It's fine.
you'll be up there and you'll be like, that was my worst show so far.
I do a joke that is that. I
Yeah.
have a bit that I will do that's I say it's the worst show I've ever done.
Yeah.
It was until this other thing happened.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing has so many aspects of bad that I can't it doesn't work for a bit. And so the other thing does, because it happened in like that rule of threes way.
Got it.
Oh, yeah.
And that one was doing the show, a charity show for National Rare Disease Day. And I had to go to this thing. And I'm not going to do the bit. I will just keep it short. So there's like 2,000 people at this thing for Rare Disease Day. And the woman that hired me had seen me at this club. And she wanted to have me do the show. They gave me the check ahead of time. There's like kids watching a magician in another room. There's a baby sitting on the stage.
Oh.
Like a toddler. And I'm like, this sucks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No handheld mic, only podium.
Oh, nice.
That's bad.
Yeah. For a stand-up
That's
comedian.
insane for a
Yeah.
stand-up show. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah. Not only that, by the way,
so
this
we're-
is my second worst show.
Yeah.
So were they
Yeah.
we were like, well, this is the only microphone we can get, and it's attached to a podium?
Correct, because they were also doing like presentational stuff.
Yeah.
I was only supposed to do like a certain amount of time.
Right.
Wow.
You blew
and-
the light. Did twice
are you
the
kidding me?
amount of, yeah.
So I'm backstage, and the woman that hired me, she's like, we're gonna do a few presentations, we're gonna do this kind of thing, and then we'll bring you up for the end part of it, and then at the end of that, then it moves into this thing, and then we
Faith
do
healing.
awards, and then we do
Yeah.
this, and so it's a whole thing, and it's like it's an all day event for everybody there. And then again, this is my second worst.
Yeah.
I'll save the worst for the live show. Isn't that fun? Unless this comes out later, which it probably will.
yeah.
So I hope you liked that.
It will.
She says the few presentations. The first presentation was a woman with a rare disease that was causing macular degeneration.
Okay.
She was going blind.
Slowly, yeah.
She had been a photographer. So they did a slideshow of her photography. Not funny yet, Brad. How dare you?
I'm barely holding it back.
No, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She's like overcoming her illness. That's
Right.
a positive performance.
Yes.
Right.
The second presentation was a woman with a rare bone disease that was fusing her joints. She had danced ballet as a younger person. She came out, she did a whole dance. Again, lovely,
nice.
Yep.
overcoming. I can't wait to go up. By the way, this bit that I do, I only do it at a show that I'm not having fun on. So if viewer listener, if you've ever seen me perform stand up and I do this bit, it's because I'm not having fun and I tell this story.
And you're being a bad audience member.
Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
So then this is true. All of this is true. This is not that bullshit where a comedian like embellishes all the things or creates a situation. So we've had those presentations. The last presentation before I go up, the woman comes out. She explains what's happening, and it is a slideshow of all of the people that have passed away in the organization over the year with the music.
I was gonna say all of the stuff, even though you said it was like nice and beautiful, it's just not great to do before a stand-up comic.
No,
Yeah.
but at least that was positive.
Yeah.
And
Right.
now that you know the third one
Yep.
is that slideshow with, no joke, I will remember you, right? All of that. Everyone is fucking crying
Yep.
in the room.
Yeah.
The woman goes up with tears in her eyes, and she gets to the podium and goes, "Here to cheer us up is the very funny Ray Harrington." So I had to go up to a podium and I'm 6'7".
Yep.
So I'm hunched over a podium like I'm about to introduce Hitler.
I was just gonna say it was worse because it was that day where you did that cameo in Glorious Bastards and you didn't have time to change.
Yeah. And I had that shirt on that said, "No problems in this body. Only easy to identify diseases here." Right. So I went up and I was texting with Derek Furtado and Brian Bowden. They've both been on the show. I was texting with them what was happening. Before I went up, I was texting and I said, "I'm giving the check back as soon as I get on stage. It's the only way I will survive this.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can do to win them over right away."
Yep.
Oh, you're gonna say it on stage.
Yeah. So I got on
wow.
stage and I was like, "This is really lovely. This is so wonderful that you're doing all of this. I really appreciate being here. I'm honored to be here. And in watching all of these things, I'm really moved by this. So I would like to give my fee for doing this show."
Yeah.
And I take the check out of my pocket and I'm like, "I would like to donate it to the National Rare Disease Foundation."
Right, very nice.
And I gave it back to the woman,
Yep.
literally just so I could survive.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I ended up doing it for free, and it was I think I tried. You know what I mean? I tried, and I went through it. There's the baby on stage. I'm standing at a podium.
Yep.
Everybody's sad. It was rough.
Oh, my
I think I
God.
got through it to the level where everybody was happy.
Yep.
Everybody was like glad they had seen this part. And then I was like, bye-bye, right? I think I was supposed to do 30. I must have done like 15, 20 because it was just like, no, all of this is wrong.
Yeah.
Wow.
All of this is bad. So when I do that joke on stage and I tell that whole thing, it always gets a nice big pop when I say the line of, "Here to cheer us up." And it's nice because it's like a little bit of empathy from the crowd.
Yep.
And I always end the whole thing. There's some more stuff that I say that's, punchlines.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, I go, and I tell you all of that to tell you this. I can't wait to tell the National Rare Disease people about this show.
Yes.
That's
And it's a
great.
fun way to kind of throw it back at them. But that happened. It was horrifying. And that is my second worst show experience I've ever had.
You know, it'd be so funny if you got backstage and they were like, "Oh, it's so nice of you," and you were like, "Oh, that was just part of it. That's my
Yeah.
act.
Yeah, I need
that was
that
my act.
check.
I do need the check.
I need that check back."
They're like, oh, we
Yeah.
didn't even like that's not a real check. It's a prop check because we knew you were going to give it back.
No,
that's
how about this?
that's part of our bit.
I take out like a coupon.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I'm going to give the check back, right?
Yes.
And I hand that over, and they're like, Arby's, right?
What did you trade for this coupon?
Porn.
Yeah.
I have a fun
Porn.
little thing I wanted to tell you. I know you would like this.
Yeah.
So we talked recently, within the past couple of months, about me going to yard sales every spring.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
found those nunchucks. I had a lot of good times.
Man, I just pictured in my head you waking up one morning like, right? You open the curtains, and it's like, da, na, 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 and you're like, springtime.
Yeah, so it's a robin, a lights on a branch.
Yeah. But the robin has a little sign on, and
Yeah.
it says like yard sale, and you're like, it's here, and you come running down the stairs.
I do feel like
You
that.
there? What day is it?
So it's
Spring day, sir.
So I'll tell you a funny thing.
The
We,
yard sale spirits got it all done.
It's
at one.
4:20, sir.
so it's funny in this world of like, I would say yard sales, flea markets, vintage stores, antique stores. It's funny because you have like the most disorganized, dirtiest shit that's dirt cheap and people are selling.
Wow,
it for
you heard that
nothing,
here, folks.
right?
Chuck Staten says that people that shop
No.
at a thrift store are dirty trash.
But then, I mean, I'm sure you've been in these like thrift stores / antique stores where all the stuff is like pristine and it's from 80 years ago and everything is hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I did a show because Kalina loves
And the
all that
stuff,
stuff.
the stuff is cool. I
Yeah.
just can't pay for it.
No. This is what I want to say. Like Kalina, my wife, loves these. Check it off on the Funbo.
Yeah.
She loves. She's the most like environmentally conscious person I know in my life.
Upcycles.
Gross.
And yeah, she's all about like reducing, reusing, and recycling. Like that's her whole thing. If she can get something that's not plastic to be the different thing, go ahead.
I'm laughing because the idea of me trying to stretch me buying like metal nunchucks, and
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
I'm upcycling.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
care about the environment. Ow, my temple. Yeah. Clang.
It's such
Ow.
a funny thing to bring into me buying this whole shit.
Right,
It's a way
right.
for me to influence Brad and make him feel like I guess we're doing a good thing
Yeah.
by going to these places.
It's not plastic. It's not poison for the earth. It's just gonna hurt.
I guess he's right.
Yeah,
He
but no,
puts on a ninja mask.
but it's to a level that is pretty, pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She tries to avoid so much anything plastic, all that stuff. So she loves like thrift shop ideas. You know what I mean? When we went to London, she really wanted to go to Oxfam shops.
Okay.
Which is like their charity shops.
Yeah.
They have a different vibe there. I kind of like their mode. They don't do like the Salvation Army thing or like Goodwill. They have charity shops where
Yeah.
people donate the things, and they have volunteers that work there, or some are paid, and they, go through everything, and then they put everything on sale. But it's not such a big organization where it's like with the Salvation Army and the donations, it's like, yeah, that's all fucked up. The
Yeah.
finances of the Salvation Army
like,
are
yeah,
not
it's like
good.
15% of it go
Yeah.
to whatever something.
Which is funny because when we were in London, we walked past the Salvation Army headquarters
Oh.
in London.
Yep.
And it's this huge, beautiful building on the other side of the Millennium Bridge. And we're walking back by it, and Finn goes, "Oh, look, it's Salvation Army." I'm like, "Yeah, isn't that a huge building? That's where all the money goes in those pots that the Santa Claus is ringing his bell."
Yep.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's fucking true, right?
Almost like you should put something else in those buckets. It's the obvious joke.
London Santa opens a package. It's fucking shit in it.
They damn right it
It's
is.
shit, isn't it? Oh, fucking hell. But yeah, so
Yeah.
she loves that reduction of stuff.
Yes.
I don't even remember where we were going with this. I'm so sorry.
Well,
I
I
drew a complete blank because you were talking about the thrifting and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I
I'm
was
so
talking
sorry.
about that stuff, and I know she
Fuck,
does.
Oh, that's what it was. There's a shop in Providence that's in one of the mill buildings. It's one of those where
like
the
kinda
mill
hidden.
building got redone, remodeled, and it's this like intensely expensive boutique.
Yeah.
That's all vintage clothing.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you're talking about. Like you go in and it's like, wow, that's really cool. And there's like some furniture stuff, some design stuff. And I was there to do a Don't Tell comedy show.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at the stuff, and Kalina was so excited. She's like, "Oh, you're going to that shop? I love that shop." You know.
Yeah.
She's like, "I can't buy anything there, but I love it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Why?" And I'm thinking maybe I'll get something at the shop. I show up. I'm like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
no, I'm
Yeah.
not even touching anything. It's insanely expensive."
It is, and it's funny because I don't think I'm, you know me, like I don't really like to criticize people. So like I don't know if
Hang on one second. Brad and I need to look at each other directly in the eye for about 10 seconds. Ready?
I don't like to criticize people, and so like it's tough when like people have like vintage shops. Do you ever see ones that are kind of focused on basically like the 90s and the 80s, and they have a lot of sneakers and a lot of t-shirts and a lot of sweatshirts, and they're in really good condition, and they're priced at $65 for a t-shirt, a Space Jam t-shirt, whatever. For me, I'm just like, I can't partake in this.
Yeah.
And I don't want to criticize because I don't know what the mechanics are of making that stuff work.
Oh, there's a lot of discussion I've seen talk about like the thrifting
Slash
stuff
vintage.
has been like ruined because
It's
of like speculators.
Like pickers is what it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
And it sucks.
Whoa, what?
It's pickers. And
Okay.
So it sucks because like I went into
What about grinners?
I went to Goodwill
Lover?
in Jersey last year and made 1 million laser discs. And I think laser discs are like just really fun. I don't know why. Like a Jurassic Park laser disc to me is really fun as like a little decorative thing.
I like holding a laser disc because I feel like a little baby holding a CD.
Yeah, and I have like the special anniversary, the special edition of the Die Hard laser disc, and you open it up and it's this huge layout of all Nakatomi Plaza. I'm like, this is a cool thing. I don't know.
Sure,
it's like a vintage thing. But that's all I care about is like being like, oh, this would be cool to put up. But other people were picking through it and like looking on eBay and being like, and so whatever. And I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying. But anyway, so I was doing this stuff recently, and I was doing it in Colorado with Natalie.
You should have a segment on the show called "I'm Just Saying."
I'm just saying. And we
I'm
went
just
into
saying this week. Black funerals. Look! Hear me out. It's like,
Respect the dead.
Stop dancing.
No.
It's too jovial in
I
this
don't
funeral.
like this episode.
That's the name of the episode.
You know what I don't like? I don't like that they have that dead body
Don't
on a
say
moped because he
they.
loved mopeding.
Don't say they.
The people at the funeral. They are at the funeral.
So here's what's really. This is a really.
You know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah.
That's not just for any. I'm not even saying it like a
know.
racial group. There's
know.
people that like. They take a body at the funeral and they take it out of the casket and they prop it up in some way that is like.
Ray loved watching the Pittsburgh Steelers in his favorite armchair.
Yeah, so they
I've
have
seen
the
that, like,
armchair
3
and the
times.
body just dead there, and everybody's like, yeah.
I hope that's happened like 2 times throughout history. You think it's
I
more
have
common than
seen
that?
more than 2 examples, absolutely. And it's
Anyway.
weird stuff like they're on a motorcycle
Yeah.
or they're doing stuff. I saw one recently, maybe it was in Brazil. There was a lot of football happening. They kick. The guy loves soccer, so the team that he played with,
That's right.
they kicked the ball at the body so it would bounce off of the body and into the goal. So that was his last goal that he made.
Yeah.
I would do that.
And then when it happened, they all went like a real soccer game. They went like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking about it. Like if that was like my brother or something, I'm like, that's my fucking brother's dead corpse.
Yep.
Put it back in the box.
It'd be so fucking funny if we're like, Brad never headbutted a soccer ball. You prop up his.
You're just kicking soccer balls at my face.
Yeah, and it won't go. I like the idea that it won't go in the goal. And so we're like, oh no, we have at this point.
We keep doing it.
At this point, we are pot committed. We brought a body out to this field. He has to make a goal.
And you were like,
Yeah, it cuts to like we see a time lapse of the sun setting and coming back up, and we're out there like, all right.
There's 3 other mourners in the stands, but then people start showing up for that day's match.
It's all Pee Wee League kids sitting there crying. We're like, we'll get it.
Wellburt is weeping.
Weeping Wellburt.
But I love it.
Weeping
So
Wellburt.
Brad's propped up, right?
Yeah.
Kicking the soccer ball. His expression just changes like a little bit every time.
when it comes back after the time lapse, the face is entirely caved in. It's just like, we have to get a goal.
We have to keep getting the guy that embalmed him to like fill it with more.
Put more foam insulation in there. It's like he runs out. He comes running back to the field with a can of Fix-A-Flat in his ear, and the foam comes out the other side. Yeah, it's what he wanted.
The foam is running out of his nose.
Yeah.
I know
and it's not until the next day, after hours of kicking balls at the dead body, where we go, maybe we should move it closer to the goal. And we were at center field the whole
Oh my god. Oh, it's so funny.
shit.
So what I was gonna say is,
yes. I'm just saying.
there's actually a great place in Staten Island called Objects of Interest, and they have such cool stuff that's it's
Interesting?
It's very interesting, but it's a very well kept store. Everything's clean. Everything's like really really cool and vintage, but everything's extremely expensive.
I'm going to open a store right next to it called Subjects of Interest. And it's a bookstore.
Yes, I like.
It's great.
So anyway, one of the things I like to find, but I really don't ever end up getting that many, I only have 2 of them, is like one of the most expensive things, which is like old boxes that were made for product, like Sprite or Coke in like 50 years ago. They're actually wooden boxes. They have these old vintage logos on them, and they're so expensive, like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
So last time I went to Colorado, Natalie knows that I like to go to yard sales, flea markets, whatever. And she's like, so guess what I planned for tomorrow? And I was like, what? And she goes, we're going to go to a yard sale. And I was like, really? She's like, yep. I looked them up on Facebook and I made a plan. It's a high school yard sale. They're doing it for the high school.
Okay.
And I was like, weird. So we go there and it's inside this gymnasium. We go in, it's all cheerleaders that were running it, right?
Oh, God. So
Hang on. I have to look at Ray and make eye contact for another 10 seconds.
That's entrapment.
So they had...
You guys walk in and you see that, you're like, no, nice try. You're
Hey,
Natalie's like,
Hanson.
what's going on?
I'm looking for Chris Hansen under everything.
Okay, all right. Where are the cameras?
But I
Now
found...
I know why I had to bring the Zima.
I found a hand-painted Coca-Cola one that held 4 6-packs, and it's wooden. It's
Oh,
not,
yeah.
It's not like, it's wooden. And I was like, how much is this? And they're like, it's donation. You pick your own price. So I was like, wow.
Chuck's the wrong person to sell that to.
I gave him $5 and a healthy $1 tip. But anyway.
I'm just trying to think of like Chuck here. He's like, so everything here is a donation. And then like, what song is playing in the montage of Chuck?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I looked. But anyway, the funny thing that I think is fun for the podcast, that was a cool one. The fun thing is I was in East Providence looking at Savers, and I found a bingo cage with all the balls, and you spray it and you do it. I'm like maybe.
What word did you say just then?
I said you spin. I said spin.
I heard
but I said
spray
spike.
it.
Yeah, I said spike.
You spray it.
You spin it. You spray it. You spray it. But I was like, this will be fun if we need to do something random, or we'll figure.
Yeah.
We can figure something out for it.
Yeah.
And with Tell 'em Steve Dave, there's a lot more of that kind of like shenanigan stuff. And so I texted Walt, and I was like, the podcast I work for, Tell 'em Steve Dave. I texted the guy in charge, Walt, and I said, "You want me to grab this bingo cage? We'll use it for something." He's like, "Yeah." So I grabbed it. It was in my car, and it was in a box. And I was driving, and I heard it turn over, and I was like, "Oh, God damn it!" And the balls are pretty small, and I hear the balls all spill out on the ground, and I'm like, "All right, well, whatever."
You go bingo.
Well, I was like, they're little, they're big enough that it's not like going to be hard to get them. I'm like, I'll get them, whatever. So, at some point, maybe the next night, I go in the back seat, I collect all the balls, I put them in like a plastic bag, I put them in the box to make sure it doesn't happen again, and I put them away, and I'm driving the next day, and I'm like, I take a turn, I hear all the balls go again, and I go, oh, I thought I got them all. I must have missed a couple. So I go in the back and I look, and I'm like, and it's completely clean. The floor is completely clean. The seat is completely clean. And I look, and there's all these vents for my air conditioning on the ground of the back seat.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
And now in my car, whenever you turn, you just hear 1,000 bingo balls
Oh,
going
no.
across the thing. thing. And Brad has heard him.
I have.
Oh,
That's a
man.
nightmare.
It was
That is a nightmare.
It's so funny. I was like, this is a great like sitcom-y thing,
Yeah.
especially if it started with me and you arguing about like going to thrift stores or
Right,
like getting
yeah.
dumb stuff or whatever.
Or if you were like, I'm gonna put this in the back seat, and I go, put it in the trunk, put it in the
You're
backpack.
like, what if it falls over? You know,
Yeah, and you're like, it's fine.
what's gonna happen? You
Whatever.
know? Yeah.
Well, and then you have to hide it from Ray, and so you're just like, all right, I just
Every
have to
turn.
do
Whatever.
straight away.
Yeah.
Just straight away. I love this song. Yeah.
I can't let him have the satisfaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really funny. But yeah,
What's that sound? I farted.
Continue to fart.
it was a rolling fart.
It sounds like little balls in air conditioning.
Yeah, the doctor says.
That
they
was
all
my
say-
nickname in middle school. Little balls in air conditioning? Yeah.
But yeah, no. So
I went to a trade school.
I was like, God damn it! But
Yeah, that
it is.
sucks.
It is funny.
Yeah, that's always something like having a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a little person. Put that on the card. I remember once when Finn was little, he went to put like a snack that he was having on the dashboard, and it was something like little things. You know,
Yeah.
maybe it was like maybe he had some M&Ms or something like that. And I was like, oh no, we don't put that up there, right? Because
Yeah,
that's my
we've
fear
seen
is that it's
Yeah,
gonna
Tommy
go
Boy.
in there.
We're gonna watch.
Right,
Yeah, we're gonna watch Tommy Boy.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Yeah,
I know.
no, thank you.
So dumb.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's funny. We didn't record for the longest amount of time that we've been a podcast. So like you
We
left.
were legally separated.
Yeah.
Yes. So you left.
Back together.
And while you were
Worked it
gone,
out.
I went to 3 different like wedding things.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
2 of them were weddings. One of them was a wedding
divorce.
shower.
Oh.
It was in Staten Island.
Wait. Wedding shower?
I never knew one either existed.
I don't want to besmirch whoever this is because you know this person well enough that
It's
they would have you
Chrissy.
go to Chrissy.
That's her name.
Okay,
Christina.
I don't know Christina.
She's
No-
Staten Island Gina's sister.
Okay, no shade on Christina. Staten Island. Staten Island, Christina.
Right.
No shade on you whatsoever if you listen or watch.
She watches, but just for me.
Oh, okay.
She does. She loves Brad.
Uh-oh.
It
Well,
doesn't-
now
it doesn't make
I'm
any
just gonna
sense.
say this. A shower for a wedding feels just to me as a stupid idiot,
Yes.
jerk-faced dum-dum,
Yeah.
fatty Magoo.
Oh.
I had to throw it in. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's because I hate myself.
Oh,
Guys, it's fine. It's just that I hate myself.
That's a little Sheila. Isn't
It's
it?
like I hate myself. Yeah, Sheila does. She has low self-esteem.
Low
for
T.
sure.
That's what she is.
that's why she likes
No,
to
that's
see.
good for,
That's-
for Sheila.
That's why she
Well,
likes to see
even
movies
lower
that are
T.
just okay.
Yeah, she has low E.
Oh,
Yeah, estrogen. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so I do think a wedding. This is the first time I've ever heard.
right. Not
wedding
not
shower,
a bridal
not a-
shower. Yeah.
Right, or a baby shower.
Yeah.
I know
Baby.
baby shower. Baby's coming.
Yep.
Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Let's do a little party.
Yeah.
You know, guess the poo poos.
I didn't even tell you the whole thing that happened. It was crazy.
Hold on, I want to get
Oh,
to
yeah.
this point though. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
You know what? We're both sorry. And that's what's important is we recognize what we've done and we can move on from it, right?
A lot of positive conflict resolution
Yeah.
today.
Well, you know what it is? I'm afraid of like hurting someone's feelings about what my feelings about this.
Okay.
It's how I feel basically whenever I find out someone I know is an adult Disney person, where I have to go, and now I can't share with you my personal internal thoughts about adult Disney people. I hope you have a wonderful trip. Right? Like that's how I feel about it. No, there's a difference between like going to Disney as an adult and
Yeah.
an adult Disney person.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Oh,
Would you
yeah.
agree?
Yes.
I think, yeah, there's a huge difference.
Especially if you have a wedding shower at Disney. Please explain to me what a wedding shower is.
Essentially, it feels like, and I'm not a wedding expert.
You're not?
I think that, I'm not sure if Ray knows this, that Brad will be going to his 50th wedding in a year.
Anniversary.
In a week. No, his 50th wedding.
To the woman that he was married to
Wellburt's mother.
in his other life.
I've been married. I've been
previously.
married to her 49 times.
Wow.
He's going to his 50th wedding.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
The
weddings.
day before our live show.
Yep.
That's a lot of weddings.
Fourth wedding of the summer, 50th wedding of my adult life.
How do you, 50 weddings is a lot.
I think, hey, listen, viewer, listener, if you are single and you want to get married desperately, like it's a rom-com from the 90s, befriend Brad.
Yeah, that's
because
good.
it sounds like this guy's hooking them up left and right.
We called The Bachelor with Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Or The Baxter,
so
which is another film with
Michael.
Michael
Showalter?
Showalter,
Showalter,
yeah.
yeah.
And David
Ian Black.
Wayne.
David Wayne.
Yep.
And not Damon Wayne.
Damon Wayans?
David Wayne.
Keenan Ivory Wayne.
Damon Ivory Damon.
So I don't know which one is the reception and which one is the thing. What happened?
The reception's after the wedding.
Yeah.
After the ceremony.
It was very similar to a reception. I don't know how many people were there. I guess I would say maybe 60. And
But so there's a bridal shower.
Yeah.
Which also is kind of weird because I don't exactly understand where the bridal shower falls.
I think
Tends,
a bridal
tends to be like a party for the women.
I feel like it's antiquated where it was like the bachelor party.
Yep.
And the bridal shower.
Yeah.
Right. And then there became the bachelorette party.
Yeah.
And I think the bridal shower kind of fell away from that.
Oh, okay. You think
Does
the
that make
bachelorette?
sense?
I think the bridal shower gets skews a little bit older.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you'd have your aunts and grandmas and whatnot at the bridal shower.
Got it. Yeah.
And like the most scandalous thing is like, hey, here's a new brassiere.
Yeah. And then the bachelorette party is when you know.
It's penis-shaped straws.
Yeah, and all the women have sex with that guy, and then
With
they
the bear mask on, right?
Yeah. I've been to my fair share of bachelorette parties for sure. No, I'm just kidding.
That bear mask makes it hard to breathe.
Actually, you know what? I have sort of,
Yeah, I'm sure
on
you
paper, technically been to a lot of bachelorette parties, and the only reason I say that is because I'm a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, they're in the
I do
garage.
shows, and they fucking the bachelorette parties come.
Yeah, of course.
My first album at the Portland Comedy Connection, The Worst Is Over.
Yep.
Yeah.
There were 4 bachelorette parties in the room for that recording.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, this is insane, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's too many.
Oh,
And
yeah.
thankfully, they were all awesome except for one.
Right.
And I buried them in the first like 10 minutes and cut it out of the album. And it was literally me going, I'm going to do this now and get it out of the way so we don't have to, like, I don't have to wait for you to fuck up a bunch of this recording to then get you out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And then they were cool. But yeah, so that is weird. I have been a part of a lot of bachelorette parties.
That's true. He was
Like a stripper, I could say.
I was gonna say people could say he's been a performer at many bachelorette parties.
Yeah, and everybody'd be like, him?
It's a full Monty situation.
Him? That one?
Oh, they gather around. He tells them to shut up, and they listen.
Yeah. That one?
That one.
Can't take
That guy?
They can't take their eyes off him.
But but it was funny because what happened was, like, I know Staten Island Gina. She's my friend.
Yeah.
And her sister I know a little bit, and her fiance. You know, I'm friends with them a little bit. I've met them like a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of last minute, like maybe like 2 weeks before the thing, they were like, "Oh, we have food for this many people. Only this people and people are going." So it was kind of a thing of like, "Oh, would you come?" And I said, "Sure." And Staten Island Gina was, or we call her SIG or SIG. She was like, "By the way, it's disco themed." And I'm
Okay.
like, "Disco themed." I'm like,
So there's a
"Okay."
theme at the wedding shower.
And I was like disco themed, and I'm like, okay. And I, you know, as you know, like my schedule kind of can get like convoluted and pretty busy. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna leave. It was on a Saturday. I'm like,
Okay.
I'll leave the Thursday and Friday. You know, I'll get some disco stuff on Thursday and Friday. So I asked her, I'm like, would you come with me to try to find it, like at thrift stores? We went to a ton of thrift stores, and I'm like, disco, and I'm like, all I can think of is Saturday Night Fever. Like, I don't know that much about disco, like in terms of
Yeah, and that's just
outfit.
how normally people dress in Staten Island.
Well, it's like what do we got? We got Disco Stew and,
Yep.
and John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. It's like the Bee
Yep.
Gees, but the Bee Gees are not. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Chuck, cut to it. When did you start gluing little squares of mirror to yourself?
I'm just gonna be the ball.
I'll be the ball.
I'm just gonna be the ball. I can't find it.
I didn't think this through.
right, all right.
It hurts so much.
You gotta get the glass.
Yeah. It's supposed to be little squares.
So we're going to thrift store to thrift store. I'm trying to find basically a stark white suit,
Okay.
right?
I guess. I mean,
But
with
what-
disco though, you could just kind of go with vaguely 70s stuff.
I think,
If
yeah.
you like, how about this? If you couldn't find the white suit, would you feel good about a like a leather, like a suede vest that had like danglies, like you know how like a cowboy jacket?
Oh, maybe.
Well, that'll have like
As long as
danglies.
it's not crazy rustic, maybe, because rustic
Yeah.
is like different.
No,
but-
because that feels 70s to me.
Yeah. So we're looking all day. I'm kind of like over the course of Thursday, Friday, like I'm kind of feeling more like, oh man, this is really tough. I'm like, where are these people getting these disco outfits?
Yeah.
So I asked SIG, I was like, hey, I'm like, what's your sister's phone number? And she gave it to me, and I texted Chrissy, and I was like, I have to dress like a disco guy tomorrow, right? And she's like, no. What do you mean? And I was like, well, what do you mean? And she's like,
It's Nabisco themed.
she's like, we're gonna have a couple little like disco, like a thing, like a disco ball or whatever. It's just like a little disco theme. And I'm like, does that mean that the guests do it or not? And she's like, no. And I was like, God.
I know.
I wish you hadn't have called. I wish you
I
showed
know.
up.
This is what
Full
all I was thinking of.
Travolta.
I know.
I wish you showed up and it's like, right? Like, well, you can't tell by the way.
Press play. Press play.
Yeah.
Waiting outside the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I heard you getting married.
Hey. Like that kind of thing. Is he doing Elvis?
Is he okay?
He's bleeding from all those shards of glass taped
Why
to
is
him.
he carrying those buckets of paint? I don't understand it.
But yeah, no, I will say, I mean, it was really fun. I only knew a few people there. Like, I know her family a little bit, and I knew like a friend or two, but everyone was super cool. And it was funny because it was definitely like a big Staten Island party. Like, you know, a lot of people have those accents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. And I would consider it almost like a smaller wedding reception before the wedding.
That's what's
and I
so-
don't understand what that is.
This is what's weird to me personally. No offense to anybody that does these.
yeah.
To me personally, I feel like with the wedding, there's the wedding,
Yep.
which is ceremony and reception.
Yes.
There is, if you are, it's like expanding circles of social stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
The farthest out circle is the wedding, right?
Right.
Like you come to the wedding, you're invited. Here's your invitation, ceremony and reception.
Yes.
Inside of that, there's like the bachelorette party, bachelor party.
Yeah.
Maybe that's gonna be the people in the wedding party for sure. But maybe also some other folks.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Where it's like, hey, like for my bachelor party, it was like the wedding party of the groomsmen.
Yeah.
And then also some other friends that I wanted there as well.
Right.
Right. And then you have the rehearsal dinner, where that's for all of the wedding party, and often there's a few little fun things that you do with that. You give out. That's when you can give out your gifts to everybody, your groomsmen gifts, your bridesmaids gifts, all that stuff.
And it has the purpose of actually rehearsing.
Yeah,
the
and you
wedding.
rehearse the wedding, right?
Yeah.
Then you have the wedding for the large circle of people.
Yeah.
So I feel like adding more elements of that, for me personally, I'd be like, look, I'm going to the thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm going to the thing.
I bet some people were like that. I mean, who knows? But
Yeah.
no, it was really fun. We had a good time. There was like open bar and stuff like that. We had a good DJ.
I do think, depending on the relationship, if it's a healthy break, I think there should be divorce parties.
Yeah.
I think there should be
with
a
everybody
thing.
together.
Yes.
That's
With-
a tough one.
When it's a healthy break, not when it's bad. When it's a bad one, like don't, because that's only going to cause tension. But like if you do have where it is on good terms, like maybe they have kids and they want to make sure everything's healthy and good, have a divorce party. Have a thing where you bring everybody together, and that way you can go, hey, shared friend group, let's not make this weird.
I like
We're all
that.
good
I
here.
like that aspect. of
Yeah,
it. It's tough.
I'm gonna do that when I get a divorce.
I just can't imagine relationships that go as far as marriage as having a healthy divorce most of the time.
I
That
think,
both people are
I think
cool.
most of the time, yes. But I also know people that are divorced that are. It is a healthy thing. I also know people that are divorced where it's not a healthy thing.
I think you know people that are divorced that it's a healthy thing, but I bet while it was happening, it was probably pretty
Sure.
tumultuous.
So later on,
Later
you
on,
get like a year window.
Couple
Yeah.
years.
You know, yeah.
Divorce anniversary.
Or how about just have a divorce party for the person that is. Fuck it, don't do the shared one. Just do separate
Yeah.
divorce parties, like a bachelor or
I
a
think-
bachelorette.
I
I'm
that
sure.
that's
I'm
making
sure.
it more party.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
It's weird. We're talking about this. I'm like the idea of a wedding shower. Engagement parties, wedding showers. I think they're probably similar, just in terms of where the timeline of where they are vis-a-vis engagement and wedding. Like
Right.
in my mind, a wedding shower would be closer to the wedding, and an engagement party would be closer to the engagement.
Yeah. I also think a lot of that is antiquated.
Yes.
And just stuff that is left over from like pre-Victorian era things where it was just like, we don't have anything to do but go to these events. And so they would do those things.
Our stag do's.
I think
know?
a lot about traditions and the place of traditions and
Yeah.
what's important and what's not and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, so that was fun. And
Yeah.
then I went to a second a wedding It was my brother's wedding, and we actually held it at my parents' house.
It was great.
In the backyard because they have this monstrous property, and they
Must be nice.
They did all this stuff. Yeah.
No,
Well, it was great.
no, the property is full of monsters.
Oh,
It's-
I thought he left. You live at home?
But it was cool. My
the
grandfather,
grounds, yeah.
my grandfather's 99.
Wow,
and he
yeah.
officiated the wedding because he's a judge. He's an
Yeah.
actual judge, and it was great. It was my brother Sam and his wife Emily, and
Is he a retired judge?
Yes.
he's
Or is
retired
he still
now.
judging?
No, he's retired. Now.
I mean, he's still judging, but not officially.
Okay, I feel like official judging, 99's too old. This is my issue with the Supreme Court.
Yes.
I think at some point you got to go, I don't think you can judge anymore.
Yeah.
I think you're past it.
I agree. But Natalie,
you say a wrong word for groups of people. I don't think you can judge.
he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah. No, I'm saying
Yeah.
the average
Oh,
like
yeah,
99-year-old.
No, I
Yeah.
agree.
You know?
But Natalie thought it was a little strange that Brad and I walked down the aisle together.
I'll say Natalie wasn't the only one who thought it was a little strange.
Now, here's my question. Usually when that is happening, from my own experience of weddings and my own wedding, when I got married, when my dream day came. Sorry, I don't know why I just did that. That was very silly.
That's all right.
But no, usually it's like the pairing is like groomsman, bridesmaid, groomsman, bridesmaid, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Or bridesmaid, bridesmaid, or groomsman, groomsman,
Yep.
depending on who's getting married,
Yes.
right? A man and a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, or, listen, we could be here all day if I break
Yeah.
down all of the possible combinations.
It's true.
Let's just say folk.
Yeah, folk.
Usually the pairing is like that. So was this a situation sometimes where it's like, you know what? There's 8 groomsmen, but only 7 bridesmaids.
Yes.
Was
Yeah.
it like that?
It was exactly like that.
Still,
Okay.
we could have walked down separately. Instead, Chuck and Brad.
I'm trying to save some time.
Whose choice or idea was that?
You know what? I think I saw Chuck talking with all the wedding coordinators and planners.
And he was like doing a weird handshake where you saw money in it. Yeah.
He saw me go like this and then like this. And I said, no.
He was pointing at you, Brad. That one over there, right?
No, they told me we were.
Yep.
And
we were just told we were, and you know what? Didn't question it in the moment. I'm
and
like,
then-
that's
and then,
how the wedding's going to be.
You go into the wedding area, the reception, and they announce the people. They
Yeah,
did that.
yeah.
Seriously,
They're like,
Yeah.
Chuck Staten and Brad Roar.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you. And then
That's great. That's fun.
Well, we
I
took
think it's fun.
we,
That's
we took
fun.
a fun photo. We're wearing our
Yeah.
matching suits, and Chuck's like, I'm going to put my head on his shoulder. Oh, isn't that funny?
You got to do it. It's
Right?
fun.
fun.
But then people I haven't talked to in 25 years are like, hey, congratulations. I'm like, thank you for the congratulations.
I
just,
love it.
Just podcast partners that we're just linked
We're
together.
not just podcast partners.
We're just linked together creatively,
No,
not in
what
any
about
other way.
our personal lives.
Nope.
I think when it comes to life, you are partners. You
I
are
think
life
we
I would
partners.
not. I would not call us life partners.
I think I would call us life partners.
Cellmates
I think a lot
more
of
than
people
anything.
would call you
I
life
think a
partners.
lot of people would, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean they'd be right.
They would be right.
You know what? We just brought it up a moment ago. I think the Supreme Court would identify this as a life partner situation.
Yes,
and
but
now
I
you
think
can't get married.
I think we also determined the Supreme Court is confused
yeah.
But yeah,
and
no,
morally
it-
corrupt.
It ended up being really
I think
cool.
that's a fun thing, and
was.
I think it's just
Yeah,
a
it
good
was fun.
time.
It was
I was in the wedding party for another wedding. I can't remember who it was. Oh, my friends Matt Dion and Callie, and they were getting married. And I was in the wedding party. Kalina was in the wedding party as well.
Nice. Sounds like a
so
great
we
party.
walked down together,
Of course.
and that was a lot of fun. And we joked about it because it was our first wedding after our wedding,
Right.
And we joked about how like, oh, this is like fun and easy,
Yeah.
because we're not getting married. This
Yep.
is easy. We already did this. This
Yeah,
is this is all
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We can enjoy ourselves.
Yep.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun. And I took a photo because they had like a nice photo booth thing, and I had my suit on, and my friend Jello was at
Yes.
the wedding as well, and he sat on my lap, and he was dressed very nicely as well, and we took a photo together.
Yes.
And we shared that photo all over the place.
yeah.
He looks like a little ventriloquist dummy on my lap, right?
Yeah, that's fun.
It's fun.
Yep.
And
That's
so
fun.
I'm all for it. I'm like, yeah, let's do those things.
We thought about bringing you into it a little bit too. And I'll say
The
this:
bedroom?
I think that the reason we were paired like that is my brother Sam is like 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So when Brad and I became friends, which was probably 15 years ago, or maybe 16,
I don't know, feels like a
Sweet.
thousand.
Let's say
16.
it's 15. That was when I was 24, and my brother would have been 14.
Yeah.
So Sam's like grown up with me and Brad being like best pals.
That's right.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
and also, Chuck, you were dating the girls in his class.
Yes.
So,
But we thought of a funny idea with you because I was like, what if we took pictures against a blank backdrop of like us in these really nice suits like this,
Yeah.
and then we told Ray later, we're like, oh, we already get pictures of us. Let's do you, and like we want to do a Funbearable 100 thing, and it's like some of us are taking this seriously.
oh no,
Wouldn't that be
no.
funny?
Yeah,
though?
that is funny.
It
Yeah.
is really funny.
That is fun.
But the wedding was awesome. It was,
Oh, it was a
really,
great
really
time.
fun.
Yeah.
They had a Dell's lemonade cart at the front where people came in.
Oh,
which I
that's
was like,
very Rhode
that's
Island.
kill.
Yeah, I like it.
And then I don't know if you know this place. It's called Tricycle Ice Cream. They're really great in Providence. They
Mm-hmm.
do ice cream sandwiches and ice cream tacos. They're great. And they had that instead of a cake. They had the guy.
Oh,
brought the
wow,
actual
that's
cart
great, that's great,
with
yeah.
mini ice cream sandwiches.
That's
It's
very
cool.
cool.
And now that was the day that Ray's flight got canceled from DC, and so
And we were
Oh,
all
yeah.
talking about it at
Yeah.
the wedding too.
So you
and-
guys were in your tan suits and texting?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I
For
appreciate
sure,
that.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But that was really fun. And then finally
Yeah.
this weekend we had a third wedding that we went
Yep.
to, where it was.
You guys were just driving and you saw it, right?
we're like, we still have these.
I mean,
suits."
let's
Yes.
get the suits.
yes,
And it was our buddy Bilau's wedding, who,
Oh,
who
okay,
you've
yeah.
worked with as well.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. Marissa was his fiance, now his wife. She's awesome.
Tomei?
She's- Marissa Tomei.
Yeah.
yes.
Wow, good for him.
Yeah. It's age difference, but they're making it work.
Yeah, she does not look like age difference.
Right?
She's
I know.
spectacular, yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Good for Bilau.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. But
Now
yeah,
she's T-Lau, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
She's not she's keeping the Marissa. She's not going M-Lau.
Tomei.
The T from Tomei.
Tomei.
She actually wants to go Tomei Which I think is really
Oh,
strange.
that's weird.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, oh, it does. It does.
But
You know what Tomatillo? Yeah, it's not like that.
But it was great.
Tomatillo, sorry.
it was really fun. And it was cool because our buddy Lou Perella, who was a frequent guest on the old podcast, Chuck and Brad podcast, was here. And Natalie flew in and stuff like that.
That's lovely, yeah.
And it was great. It was
Yeah,
just
it was a
it's
fun
just funny
wedding.
because like I got to be honest, I don't go to a lot of weddings. I think I've been to maybe 10, maybe
should
9.
make a spreadsheet.
How many have
I
you
did.
gone to?
I couldn't tell you the
You think
number.
it's like you think it's like 50 or do you think it's
No,
closer
I
to
think
like
it's
10?
closer to your number, Chuck.
Yeah.
And not at all close to Brad's. However, there is one outlier in this situation.
Uh-huh.
And I do think it plays a determining factor in this.
Yes,
And that is, Brad, you are a church-going religious person.
subscriber.
And I think if you're in that category,
Well,
you're far more likely to have weddings, right?
Yes.
Because
Oh.
I think there's far more leaning towards like, well, we're going to
Right,
get married.
right.
We're going to do this.
Yeah.
And, you know,
the purpose of marriage is
yeah. And if you are in that community
Yep.
of a church, a lot of times I feel like they will send invitations to the people that they go
people.
to church with,
Yeah.
and they share that. You know?
I,
That's a positive. It's not a negative.
Yeah, no,
You think that's a big part of it?
I did, I don't want to pull out the spreadsheet, but it was basically
That's
like
your version of whipping it out,
yes,
right?
it's basically
I don't want to have a spreadsheet measuring contest.
Let's
date, bride's name, groom's name, like location. How do I know them? Was I in the wedding? Are they still
How good
together?
the food was.
Well, and then what do I remember about the wedding?
Ah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so, I've journaled since 2005. So anything after that, nice and easy. But before that, I'm like, oh boy, what do I remember from my cousin's wedding in 1997?
I don't think you need to. You
I'm
don't
like,
need
oh,
to remember.
You know
anything
what? We instead of clinking glasses, we had to sing a song about love, and they would kiss, and it was like, we're gonna sing "Love Stinks." That's
funny.
about love. And then it's like, do you know the words? It's like, no.
Make it up.
Yeah.
Make it up. In it hurts.
My sister's wedding was a dry wedding,
Yep.
but the cousins.
Oh, alcohol.
Yeah, the cousins.
I was like,
What
what could this mean?
Are you talking about the wedding night?
the cousins snuck in, booze in a cooler,
Yeah.
and it was, evident. Yes,
You're blowing a whistle.
yes.
I found him.
I'm a booze guard. And so I know some of the people, via friends,
Yeah.
via church,
Sure.
via grad school, via undergrad.
Brazilian drug smugglers.
Only one, and I haven't been to that wedding yet. They've asked me,
Weird registry.
yes, weird registry, just
Where
balloons.
am I going to find this thing?
Mostly balloons.
How am I getting it there?
Yeah.
They did say they want you to fly carry-in only.
There you go.
Terrible.
Oh,
There's
by the
our
way,
boy.
I did go. I said I brought this up in a previous episode before I left for this insane 3-week trip.
Yep.
I did go carry on only for the full 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Carry on only
For 3 weeks.
for 3 weeks.
Well, and you did text us at one point. You're like, let me tell you about the washers and dryers on this boat.
So
Oh, yeah.
how many pairs of like clothing? Like how many outfits?
I had one like show clothes thing.
Yeah.
A pair of jeans and a bomber jacket
Yeah.
and a t-shirt I could just switch out for whatever.
Yeah.
And a pair of shoes that were only for the shows. Other than that, I had a pair of shorts I didn't use that much because it was Alaska.
Yeah.
You know, a little chilly. It was like 65 most of the time. Can you imagine? I want to be that, like in that weather. And then I had another pair of jeans. I think I had like 4 or 5 t-shirts. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And
Yeah.
like 4 pairs of underwear.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
4
Four's not
pairs of
bad.
socks. Yeah. So it was like 4 of each. And then
4's not bad.
the only hard part was because I wasn't in the same place and every 48 hours I was changing to another thing, I did have to plan out ahead of time.
Yeah.
When I needed to do laundry.
Right.
Because it would be like, oh, you know, today I don't have anything.
Yeah.
You know, I just got on the ship today.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's gone because they're out on port. I'm going to do the laundry now.
Yep.
Even though I don't
Yeah.
want to, I'm going to do it now while no one's here. Otherwise, I have to wait for a machine.
For sure.
I'm going to do it now because tomorrow I have shows and I don't know how long this is going to take.
Right.
And the next day I'm gone and I'm going to be in a hotel for one night and then on the next ship and I don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
I might have shows that night and by the time I get in my room, I only have 3 hours.
Yeah.
Can't do the laundry. So it was all of that stuff.
Yep.
And it only bit me in the ass one time, and
Right.
it was when the machines were shit, and it took me like 6 hours to do one load of laundry. It was
Yep.
terrible, but yeah, so I did it, and now I feel like I could do carry on only for a lot of stuff.
I also
you know?
just went carry on only for the first time because I'm flying to Colorado and back so much.
Yeah.
That I was like, I mean, I've never had a problem with luggage. I've never lost my luggage or anything.
Yeah.
So I grew up and my family default would check their luggage. So when I got older and people are like, oh, I never check luggage. I was like, oh, okay. And finally I was like, man, maybe that would be easier, especially because with a lot of airlines you have to pay extra.
Yeah.
And so I started doing it. And I think I'm going to just continue to do it. I think I can
Yeah.
do it, man. I think I can make it work.
I'll say,
sure.
you know, when I go home over the summer, I check luggage because I'm going to bring back uncooked pizzas.
That's true.
That's the only reason.
That's
Uh,
true.
fair.
Otherwise,
That's fair.
it
Yeah.
was
I
carry
mean,
on.
when I went to Ireland and London,
Yeah.
I brought
Oh, yeah.
a checked bag because I knew. Like I was talking to Kalina about it, and at first I was like, maybe I can do carry on only. And she's like, you're gonna get stuff.
Yeah,
of
You're
course.
gonna get a bunch of stuff, and you need room to bring it back. you know?
Of course.
So yeah.
It's funny because I had carry on only when I got that big Coca-Cola box in Colorado.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, all right, Natalie. I'm like, don't forget to bring this next time you come. And it's a wooden
Oh,
box.
no.
And it's like big. And
Yeah, yeah.
And it's funny because I was like, in my head, I was like, when she was coming last, I was like, I'm not going to tell her to bring that. I'm like, maybe I'll check a bag next time I go to Colorado and have a lot of extra room, and then I'll bring it back. And she actually was like, oh, I brought the box, and it was in her bag. So
Wow.
Nice.
worked out pretty good. But
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, it was crazy. But yeah, I went carry on only.
She also bring a note from the principal of that high school.
yeah. Please do not return.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, we had a good. We've all been doing some stuff.
I know it's so funny that it's been so long because we're usually a little bit more like on top of things. But I'm like, man, this I love the bingo balls thing in my car.
Oh, yeah.
It fits right into the Bradley show in terms of a thing that's too good.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
too
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I gotta remember to tell Ray when he comes back. But
That's fun.
I'm glad we're back in the swing of things.
Yes.
Yeah,
Did some
absolutely.
fun episodes with Derek. That was great.
Yeah.
It's great to see him. I'm glad we got the shirts out. That's awesome.
Yeah, we
buy
had
some
our-
shirts if
Yes,
you
please.
haven't grabbed
By
them
this
yet.
time, we've had our live show recording,
And that's
for
gonna
the
come
100th
out.
episode.
We've broken up and gotten back together.
Yep.
We're working on listener
Within
mail.
that show.
We're working on listener mail. We did catch up.
Yes.
We did by the end of May.
Yeah.
more listener mail has come in.
Yes, of
so I
course.
think if we did like 2 more listener mail episodes right now, we'd catch up. But we also don't want to bombard our feed with listener mail episodes.
True.
So we're trying to space them out. But we did catch up, which I think that means that we can stay current pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
like next time we do a cluster of shows, I think we should do a listener mail episode.
Sure.
You just say cluster?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I say. I have like another part of that word when I say like a grouping of the shows that we do, or how I would describe this podcast.
Yeah.
Any single episode.
Honey nut cluster.
Yes.
I don't know why that just came into my head.
Folks, we are always happy to get new listener viewer mail. Funbearable Pod.
And new listeners and viewers.
Yes. Funbearablepod@gmail.com. Always happy to hear from all y'all. Also, socials @funbearablepod. Also, if you could rate the podcast through whatever podcast medium you choose.
We should say this more often.
That is generally
And rate and review.
yeah, rate and reviews.
Like iTunes
say
is
nice
good.
things.
You know?
Please, we
Yeah.
need the validation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you have like maybe a on whatever neighborhood app that you have, right? Maybe put it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe say, hey, I really like this podcast called Funbearable in your neighborhood app. And people are like, I just want to know if that coyote is still in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you'll have to listen to Funbearable and find out.
If that's the
yes,
case,
it
you
is.
put in the header, big bold letters, coyote update. And then you do. So I'm listening to this Funbearable podcast.
That's how you got to do it. You got to
Yeah.
basically pepper it into something else.
Yes.
So big coyote update, and you say, "Listen, I was listening to Funbearable, my favorite podcast, and I was walking looking for this coyote." No, it was episode 73 where they told the story.
I love that.
Which reminded me.
And they're like,
you keep
This is like a recipe online. How much flour?
It's
And
a-
you're like, and my noni used to say to me, you know what I mean?
It's a real shaggy coyote story.
Yeah. By the way, Big Coyote.
Yep. Great
Good name.
Good name.
I like that.
Big Coyote.
Yeah.
But yes, we new merch. Check that out at funbearablepod.com. Would love to sell some stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
What is this? An email to your Brazilian friend?
I got
Listen,
go.
because you can't
I got
say
some,
it.
I got some stuff
You
to
got to be
sell.
coded.
I got
right?
to I have merch to sell. Ask for
Yeah.
the Brad special.
Hey, Wellbutrin, I've got something to tell you.
That's his full
Yeah, it's
legal
full
name.
name, is it? But please call me Wellburt.
For Ray Harrington and Chuck Staten, I'm Brad Rohr saying thank you so much, and we're sorry for being Funbearable.
So would he be Wellbearable or would we be Funbert? I can't tell.
I think if he joins the podcast, he's going to be named Funbert.
Funbert, yeah.
I'll teach you perfect English as I speak.
Do you have anything to declare? No. Just scream it and look around a lot. Oh man, one of the days, it was the day in Ketchikan that I had like a full day at the hotel, but I was
Right.
sort of just stranded at the hotel.
Yeah.
I turned on the television just to sort of have something there, and then I watched stuff I chose on my iPad. But I'm just stranded there. And one of these like Customs and Border Patrol like reality show things
love
was
it.
on.
Yep.
And it was just like catching people in Colombia at the airport. And it was so it was all very deadly serious.
Yep.
Like, look how good they are. They'll catch you if you try anything.
Yep.
Look at this person coming
Just
in.
propaganda.
Yeah. It's like, look at this. Oh, they're coming in with this purse. And they know that people have trafficked with the purse before. So then it shows them ripping open the purse. We found cocaine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Colombian, of
Yeah.
course, right? I'm sure there's like a toddler walking through and they go, hang on a second. And then they can cut the arm of the toddler, put their pinky in and taste it. And they go, he's full of coke. He's all cocaina.
It's Netflix South America, not Is It Cake?
Oh, is it coke?
Is it
That's
coke?
fun.
It's so funny.
That's fun. El Chapo runs the whole thing. I like the idea of like, okay. Oh. We're going to cut it up.
The idea of Border Patrol running a show called Is It Coke is so good.
But I want a drug lord to be like hosting the show.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's part of their release program, right? I want Tony Montana to be doing, or who is it? What's his name in, what's Al Pacino's name in that movie? I can't remember.
Not Montana.
Montana.
Montana,
Tony
yeah.
Montana.
Yeah.
Not Montana. That's Joe Montana, who's an
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah.
But I want like, okay, is it cocaine?
Yeah,
Right? Like that kind of thing.
that's fun.
I want to know, when I cut into this, is it going to be powder? Right?
His knife is against your throat, as he said.
I'm not cake. I'm physically talking. Yeah, but you don't know what they do with frosting
goes to this,
these
he goes,
days. Yeah. That could be fondant. He cuts me, and he's like, that's not raspberry. I like this
told
idea. Yeah, I really like this idea. Looks like a cute teddy bear. What happens when I pull an arm off of this teddy bear? Pulls it off, cocaine's coming out. I knew it. You know, that's really fun.
That is it Coke is really
Yeah.
funny.
So I guess we got to say TM, TM, TM.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, or just not air this part.
No.
I mean, this is
No,
a
this
classic
the fun.
after the end of
This
the
is
episode.
The Funbearable PS.
Yeah.
The Funbearable PS. That's where it gets good. Just like the 5-to-1 sketch on SNL.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I do think we do our best work in the PS session. In the postscript of a
When I
Funbearable
speak
episode.
the least.
It's I think it's when you're the most done.
The
Yes.
show is done.
But meanwhile,
I
we're like,
said that.
hold on. But what if Al Pacino said something else about this stuff?
I apologized for being Funbearable.
How about this? What if on is it Coke? There's a cake. And then what are you going to do? Oh my God. My whole world is rocked, shook to the core.
I love it.
Get me a cutter.
I don't know if this is funny.
What?
Feels funny.
It's absolutely funny.
Is it funny
Are
or
you
is it
kidding
Coke?
me? Yeah.
I'm down. I'm on board. I'm
All right,
watching.
well, guess what? You just lost your share.
Is it Coke?
you
yeah,
said
it is a
TM,
Coke.
TM, TM. That's 3 TMs.
No, we're taking it back. And
It's
we're
one
splitting
for
it. He
each.
gets
we
one
have
tea, I
you.
get
We
an
have
M.
you on film and on mic saying, "I don't like this. Is it even funny?" And then, yeah, and so that's you.
I say
splitting.
that every episode. That's practically my catchphrase.
When do we end this one? I don't know. Because I could do Pacino, probably an hour, another
Okay,
hour.
do Brad meets Wellburt, but Wellburt is Pacino. Oh, he's very thankful.
It's like meeting an uncle. Wow. You know, you're taller than I thought you'd be, but you're whiter than I thought you'd be too. Oh my God.
Because I'm Coke.
Wait a minute. Let me get a sniff of you.
Come on, Wellburt.
I'd ask you to play soccer, but I can tell you don't want to.
Can we go? We flash back to Brad getting the soccer ball bounced off his corpse's face. I don't even have a new joke for it. I just want to think about it for a second.
Well done. Cut that soccer ball open. There's another surprise.
So he's had the knife going into Brad's corpse face.
It was nice meeting you, Brad. Can you take this piñata home with you? It's very heavy.